Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography, where old friends and fans come together to BS, argue, occasionally agree, and discuss a musical artist. On this show, we go through an artist's studio album discography, discussing each album and then ranking them personally, highlighting any notable non-album releases along the way. This week's panel is Tim.
That's me.
Bill.
Still here somehow.
And myself, Jason. Someone asked how we choose the artist we cover, as we can jump from punk to grunge to metal to 80s hair metal to Mr. Bungle, so on and so forth. So we rotate.
I got
out.
more in the chamber.
Somehow we rotate out each week whose turn it is to choose. This week it's my pick, and I chose the Descendents. Starting off with Milo Goes to College. Before we talk about it, though, relationship / history with the band.
Alright. Well, I suppose I can go first, because mine's pretty short and sweet. I recognize the album cover, I recognize the figure of Milo that is present on about half of the Descendents album covers. The Milo character is present. Outside of that, I really never heard of the Descendents band name before. Couple songs might have heard in passing, not actively listened to. And yeah, I had a really blank slate coming into this discography, which I enjoyed. I definitely found some songs I'm gonna 100% come back to. Found a couple albums I actually liked as well. And yeah, just was really a blank slate coming in here, which is a first for me on the show.
I guess for me, I'm probably the second youngest fan, because I found them around 98 or 9 with Everything Sucks. I mean, if your gateway into punk was Green Day, Offspring, Dookie, Smash, it doesn't take long to get back to the Descendents. And I got Everything Sucks, and I listened to that album non-stop for like months. Like when you were talking about that album, was it a Metallica album that you picked up, or I think it was Bungle? You just said you were absorbed with that album for a month. That was me.
I mean, yeah.
That was me with
multiple artists
Sucks.
have multiple albums that absorb me, for sure.
I never checked out their earlier stuff though at the time. This is like, pre-internet, before everybody had a computer. So I ended up, when I did finally get a computer and Cool to Be You was coming out, so it was around 2003-04. This was like LimeWire, Kazaa days, where you couldn't download an album, you had to get your songs. So I just got every Descendants song listed, and
it was what, like 60-40 if the song was even actually a song?
Yeah, I mean, you had to weed out the bad stuff.
The fake files, yeah.
Yep. That's back when McAfee meant something. And Norton. But
yeah, right.
it was basically like their entire career up to that point. And then I fell in love with my burned CD for about 3 or 4 months. That's all I listened to, and my wife hated it. And then I've been following them ever since, so.
Yeah, I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I probably became aware of them in the early 90s as I was diving into my punk rock journey. Because, just being aware of the Southern California scene, everybody knew about Milo Goes to College. That's just one of those albums everyone's like, gotta hear this. So definitely heard that. For some reason, though, never really got into the band much. Would hear a song here and there, or mixtapes, people's cars, whatever. And it just never really went into it. But I've been aware of them the whole time. And of course, Bill Stevenson was in Black Flag. That's probably where my interest first probably peaked. And now that I have sat through the discography, I'm kind of kicking myself, because it was a great discography, and it is definitely a fixture in my life from here on out.
I try not to listen to too much Descendants, because it's an all or nothing thing. You start listening to it, If I start listening to it, I'm stuck on them for months. So I'm kind of stuck on them now.
I can see that. I can see that. I think that's one of the things that's going to bring me around into the fan camp. And of course, starting here with Milo Goes to College, like, you got 15 songs in 22 seconds. Right off the bat, I'm in. That's perfect. And then, yeah, it's just, the old, it wasn't the scene I was fixed on in my youth, but the older I get, the more I appreciate the Southern California, Orange County hardcore days. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on here. It's melodic, but it's also very adolescent. You can hear some like suicidal tendencies up in there. This one's very Southern California. But I got no problem with that. Spot produced it. He also did Earth AD, which was what, 14 songs in 19 minutes or something.
Which I think was your favorite. That was your favorite Misfits on that video, wasn't it?
No, I mean it could be depending on what day it was, but I don't think. I want to say it was Walk Among Us Day, but I could be wrong.
Let us know in the comments down below. Go watch our Misfits video and remind our old drunken asses.
It even. It's a good one. I got to add those songs to my playlist anyway. Yeah, I don't know, man. This one's just a lot of fun. A couple just absolute classics on here that are on every punk rock compilation ever made that's worth a shit. Yeah, just a great album, fun album. Punk rock.
22 minutes and 10 seconds of fucking perfection. This record is so fucking good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this record. If you listen to any pop punk from 1982 onward, you owe it to Milo Goes to College.
Yeah, I mean, obviously pop punk wasn't a thing yet. We're still very much in the hardcore punk scene. And for that, it's like one thing I really appreciate about bands of any genre is when they stray away from like the regiment. If you just stay on the regiment, you're just following the rules. But for a hardcore band, yeah, a lot of melody, a lot of catchy hooks, real clean production, not a lot of distortion. It's there, but it's a clean recording. And
the bass playing too is insane.
Yeah, no, like, I love old school early 80s hardcore, and for some reason I don't have a copy of this album, but I will as soon as I find one. That's what I got. Yeah, like I said, everybody knew about Milo Goes to College, and if you don't know about Milo Goes to College, you should definitely check it out, and it might change your life.
Oh, my whole opening line of a discography thing. The opening line of this discography is almost ready, almost there, is it already over? I give it a 3. It's, nothing special, but it's not bad. The whole song, though, is fucking great.
Well, and it's certainly apparent here, and Milo is going to, just double down on it, but what a great lyricist. I kept actually thinking about one of Bill's earlier comments about how country music tells a story. And I heard nothing but stories here, which for hardcore punk rock was a little different at the point in 82. So yeah, like they're definitely bringing a new flavor to a scene that I think is vibrant at this point. So, yeah.
There's so much. I wasn't like, a kid. I wasn't a teen when I heard this. I was like probably 22, 3 ish before I heard
Sure.
Parents, and even then it hit me. I was like, holy shit. And I had a great relationship with, you know, I couldn't relate to the song, but you can feel the song, like the lyrics, the emotion, the whole. Oh my god! I don't know what to say about Milo Goes to College. I just that closing track, it just fucking.
You got 20
hits.
minutes. Put it on.
Yeah, like Bikeage, Hope. I mean, Blink 182 covers Hope. They do a pretty good cover, but holy shit, they wish they wrote.
Yeah, I mean, it's a punk rock classic.
I'm Not a Loser. I want to be the whole album. 22 minutes of fucking perfection.
I Want to Be a Bear. That was a really good one.
Catalina, Kabuki Girl,
Yeah. I'm Not a Punk. Like, so many great songs.
Face to Face covered Bikeage.
Suburban Home, another punk rock classic.
Yeah, that's kind of. They don't have a greatest hits, but like I would think Suburban Home and Silly Girl would be their
Sure, and Hope.
hits, and Hope. Yeah,
I think those are the hits.
Bikeage.
And rightfully so. They're all great songs.
Oh, you talk about first album bias. This is this is a top contender for that.
This phenomenal debut album. It's actually, I'll say this: I'm glad, especially with it being a newer band, to me. I made sure I took the time to listen through the discography twice here, and I'm glad I did. Reason being, first time I listened to this album, I'm like, okay, kind of alright was my initial opinion. Though I will say, my first listen through alone was like, holy shit, this bass player is fucking phenomenal. Which I think was Doug at the time, if I remember right.
Tony.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lombardo, I think.
Tony? Okay. But the way
Yeah, according to the Information Superhighway, it was Tony.
Tony? Okay. But yeah, like, oh my god, the bassist is the thing I noticed right away. It's like, holy shit, like, they cranked that bass up. Like, not overbearing was enough that my initial first impression was like, okay, so it's a bunch of, like, high schoolers jamming with a really good bassist, was my initial impression. That I went back
And
to
that kind of sums up hardcore punk in America in the 80s.
And
It was just a bunch of kids, and the bass playing was usually pretty excellent.
And that's saying the second time I went back through after listening through the whole discography. The second time I listened through, it's like, damn, this bass player is really fucking good. And then I paid more attention to like the songs, the lyrics, and everything the second time through. And yeah, this is a good album. Something I've mentioned a couple times. I'm personally not a big fan of like screaming or yelling lyrics, which I understand is a part of punk. I do. But it's never been my cup of tea. I mean, in my mind, even with punk, like you can raise your volume, but not have to scream to still get a similar lyric or melodic point across. At least that's my viewpoint. I'm not saying that's right. I'm definitely not saying that it's right or a wrong viewpoint. But just for me, what I like to listen to. That's the only negative thing I have to say about this album is a minor personal opinion.
And I'm gonna tell you now, the Descendents with their yelling and screaming is mild compared to their contemporaries. Like they're
sure, yeah, this is actually pretty melodic.
Yeah, this is melodic for.
Well, yeah. First listen through, like it's like, but it's like actually there's some it's melodic, screaming to an extent. I mean, there's a couple things here and there, but.
I mean, the melody on Hope just gets me every fucking time.
Yep. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Reason why it's a hit. Why it's a punk rock classic.
I mean,
regardless of era.
Like Catalina, like that could have been a Black Flag song. I mean, you can tell it's very Black Flag, but.
Well, and I'm gonna pick up some Black Flag influences on the next album.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll get there, of course, but even with the guitar and stuff and the songwriting structure. Where this one feels more early social distortion, adolescence, just very Orange County.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, I'll also say this because I also didn't realize the first listen through I did either was, oh shit, this album came out in 1982, which you guys both alluded to is very, not very early for punk rock, but like paved the way for a lot of sounds we're going to hear in the 90s and 2000s.
it's like the
Yep.
second wave, right?
Yeah, so you got your original like 70s punk that was coming out of New York and then London, and then like 2 years later, like 79, 80 is when all the kids who were listening to that started punk bands. And
You
that's
get,
when
like,
the
Misfits.
underground hardcore scene exploded in the 80s, and within 10 years turns into 6 or 7 different genres that all go on to, create subgenres.
The DC scene,
You got DC, you got LA, you got New York, of course. Detroit had a really good scene. There were bands out of Texas. You had COC down south. You had like the Farts and Poison Idea up in the Pacific Northwest.
the Germs.
There's a great movie out there by Stephen Blush based on his book, which is also great, called American Hardcore, that chronicles the entire scene and what it meant to be, a teenage outcast in America as Reagan took office.
You asked me like what was the what was the mindset you should be in when you listen to this discography, and I couldn't answer that. But I guess the best thing would be, did you ever feel like an outcast? Because that's what this band is. It's punk rock for nerds, which in itself was an outcast thing in the 80s.
Yeah.
I do want to read my notes for the closing track, though. Following up Bikeage with Gina's Dead, super powerful song, and Milo's vocals sell it 1,000%. The chorus hits me every time. These aren't the DCs, these are the ACs, the awesome chills. Go watch our Def Leppard video to learn what the DCs are.
And not the, not Minor Threat.
Yeah, no, not that kind of DC.
Not the teen idols.
No. We're talking about them douche chills. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. We're probably not going to talk too much about the different, because I didn't know who wrote. I just assumed Milo wrote all the lyrics. But so I'll try to go through.
They're all contributing. They're all bringing stuff
Yeah.
in. This is all very much just kids with a vision.
And once you watch
And
Filmage, you
executing
can
perfectly.
kind of see the different people and their point of views and the songwriting, and I don't know. Yeah, it's called Milo Goes to College because he literally went off to college. Like, if the story of the Descendents to me is just as interesting as the music. I mean, it's such an amazing band history, and the fact that they're still doing it and they're all friends is a testament. I don't know. I
Yep.
fucking love this record. I'll tell you now, this was one of the hardest discographies to rank for me personally in a long time.
Well, where are you putting it?
I'm gonna put it at number 1.
Oh, I think that's a great choice. I think
Hey,
I might follow suit.
Darn it, I wanted to predict this one.
Oh,
Oh no, we don't start predicting until number 2. So yeah, it falls into number 1 right now because it's the only one we talked about. Up next is I Don't Want to Grow Up,
Don't grow up.
which I do not have on vinyl, and got that itching in the back of my head that Amazon says there's only 2 left, so probably gotta go buy it. So
better jump on it before this airs.
yeah, we got a month. All right.
Or it's only like 4 hours, right? These are current.
Yeah. We're recording this on sometime in May, April.
Yeah, yeah. We're on April Fool's Day today. Woo.
No, actually, that's. I wish we would have caught. I wish we would have planned that out. That was hysteria. Not hysteria. Euphoria. Euphoria. Sorry, Hysteria Part 2. That's gonna air.
Go
on,
watch that video.
Yeah,
God, I love those
That's
videos.
gonna air on April 1st. Or I mean, it did air. Fuck.
Surprise! Our rankings were all wrong for Def Leppard.
Time travel. Anyway, anybody else got anything to add about Milo? I'm sure this album will come up again, probably multiple times throughout our discussion.
Yeah, just put it on.
Fucking listen to it. It's 22. I told my kid today. I was like, "You want a record? You know, you upset about your parents? Here you go.
Here's 15 songs.
Be careful with it because it's out of.
Pay attention."
So, all right. Yeah, that's Milo Goes to College. Stick around, subscribe, like, all that crap. Be safe. Make good decisions.
Go to college.